Hi, this is Trisha from Lemon Paper Lab. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate one of my pattern starter templates. This template will be available to download in my Patreon page. I also have this template and more in my Ultimate Pattern Maker Toolkit for Photoshop, which includes all of my Photoshop templates and actions to help improve your workflow when designing in Photoshop. And I will leave a link in the description below to both my Patreon page and this toolkit. The template that we are looking at today is template 5. This is a design in a 3:2 ratio. Dimensions for each of the artboards is 7,200 pixels by 4,800 pixels. It's designed larger so you can use it for a variety of design projects. Looking at the template here, we have 4 artboards with variations on this pattern. Here in the layers panel, we can see our main smart object, which we can edit, and then we have a folder labeled template that has the various repeating elements here. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on that smart object. Here we have 2 reference layers. You can go ahead and turn off this reference layer here. And then this one just kind of gives you a guide. Because the smart object does repeat, if you keep your elements within this kind of basic shape, you'll get some spacing between the elements. For this, I'm going to use my pen tool. So we'll click on the pen tool here. If you right click, we can see our various pen tools. Keyboard shortcut for this is P. Up here, I'm going to make sure my fill is set to no fill, and then I have a black stroke here. To start with, I'm just going to start here, and then we're going to click, and I'm going to do shift click to create my line, and then shift click here. And then we'll pick a point down here as well, shift click. And then we'll go shift click here as well. And then going to my stroke settings here, looking at caps, I'm going to round my corners here. And then even on the corners, we can create a more rounded corner there as well. And then I'm just going to hit enter to finish off that design. And then starting here, I'm just going to click. We'll go shift click here as well. And then just creating some points here. And then we have that one here as well. And then I'm going to click enter so we can finish off that one as well. And then here I'm just going to pick a point and then come maybe to the middle here, shift click, and we have an additional line. So I'm just going to hit return to finish that one off. And then let's just go ahead and turn off this reference layer to see how this looks. And I'm going to save this smart object, Command or Control S. And then we'll jump back into our template document here, and we can see some varying repeats here. With this template will also be included an action called Define for Patterns. So I'm going to go ahead and click that action to play it. And then what we notice here in my patterns panel is that we have our 4 artboard patterns saved here. And so let's go ahead and test those patterns in a new document. So let's go to File, New. For this, I'm going to use the dimensions of digital scrapbook paper, 3,600 pixels by 3,600 pixels, resolution set to 300 pixels per inch, and I'm going to click on Create. For this, I'm going to use one of my Photoshop actions, my pattern test action, which just quickly brings up a color fill layer, a pattern fill layer, and another color fill layer. So we'll select that pattern fill layer, and we'll select our first pattern, and we will need to decrease the scale. So I'm going to go ahead and double click here, and then I'm going to change my scale to 10%. Let's make it a little bit larger. Let's try 20%. There we go. And we'll click on OK. So we can see the first variation of our pattern. And then let's go ahead and try the next one. And here we can see that it has been flipped. This one's not too different because it is flipped vertically, and they are pretty much similar from top to bottom. And then we can see this variation as well. So This one is similar to our other one. So this particular pattern doesn't show the full range because I created something that was symmetrical from top to bottom. So let's go ahead and try another design. So we can go ahead and turn off the visibility of these layers. We'll create a new layer here. And then let's go ahead and use our brush tool, that's B on the keyboard. And let's create something that isn't so symmetrical so we can see the full effect of our repeat. So let's go ahead and start a little bit offside, and then I'm just going to create some more of those kind of organically wavy lines here, working into the various corners of our shape. And you don't necessarily have to work into all range of this shape, but it just gives you a reference. So we'll go ahead and save this. I'm going to turn off that reference layer, Command or Control S to save it. We'll jump back into our template document here, and then let's go ahead and run that action again. Define 4 patterns. We can see our save patterns here. We'll jump into our test document, and then we'll test the first one here. And we can just see the variations of this pattern. I'm going to go ahead and double click on my pattern fill layer and jump and scale it down just a little bit so you can see a little bit more. And then you can always play with the colors of your document. So we'll select, maybe select a purple color here. I'm going to change this one to white, so we'll go FFF. And then you can always drop down the opacity of your fill layer to get that two-tone effect here. So again, we can see our various pattern variations here. We have our first one. So I hope you enjoy playing around with this template and seeing what patterns you can come up with. It's nice to work off of a template. I found that when I started fresh from a blank screen, sometimes it was difficult to just begin. So working from a template can help you get started designing a new pattern. If you like this template, it is available in my Patreon page. It is also a part of my Ultimate Pattern Maker Toolkit for Photoshop, where you can get this template and more, including all of my actions and Photoshop templates that have been designed to help speed up your workflow when designing in Photoshop. And I will leave a link in the description below. Thank you for watching this video. This is Trisha from Lemon Paper Lab. See you next time.